The year was 1826. Margarita stood on the fortifications of Diros, watching the mighty Turco-Egyptian army of Ibrahim Pasha begin its assault. She held her family's arms, a pistol from her mother's grandfather, who had perished in the Orlov revolt, and a sword from her father's ancestor, a pirate during the Ottoman-Venetian Wars. Margarita looked at the advancing Ottomans and lifted her pistol. They would not pass. This fictional story encapsulates the legend of the Maniots, the inhabitants of the Middle Peninsula of the Peloponnese in Greece. Known for legendary connections to Sparta, ruthless piracy, and a fierce martial spirit, their story is one of a proud, independent people who were never fully subjugated by the Ottoman Empire. To understand the Maniots, one must first understand their land. Mani is a rugged, mountainous peninsula south of ancient Sparta. Its treacherous inner hinterland has historically been nearly impossible for outsiders to penetrate and conquer. Most accessible by sea, its many bays were perfect for small ships. The arid landscape necessitated sophisticated water management, with networks of wells and cisterns still surrounding settlements today. Architecture reflected their social structure. Extended families lived in longhouses, while elites occupied hilltop castles and forts of Byzantine and Frankish origin. Beyond their reputation for banditry, the Maniots exported olive oil, honey, nuts, and wine. Culturally, the Maniots were rarely united, spending most of their history divided into large, feuding patrilineal clans. They were fiercely independent. Foreign travelers noted that almost all men and women carried arms. Society was divided into two classes: the land-owning elite, the Niklianoi, who led pirate bands, and the peasant serfs, the Akamnotoroi. The Niklianoi clans would sometimes convene in a council of elders, the Geronticon, to elect a leader against common foes. A powerful code of honor governed Maniot life, manifesting in intense, intergenerational blood feuds. Yet their culture was not solely defined by violence. They have a rich tradition of moirologia, or lamenting songs, recited by women to honor the dead. Greek mythology holds that the sea god Poseidon was saved by a dolphin and brought ashore in Mani, leading to a shrine at Tyneros. During the Bronze Age, the region was influenced by Mycenaean culture. By the Archaic period, it was under the control of Sparta. This Spartan connection has fueled the modern myth that Maniots are genetically pure Spartans. This notion, popularized by Western travelers and Greek nationalists, is groundless. Like all of Greece, Mani experienced centuries of migration and influence. The peninsula was involved in Sparta's wars, including the Persian and Peloponnesian Wars, but faded from prominence during the Hellenistic and Roman periods. As the Roman Empire split, Mani became a nominal part of the Byzantine, Eastern Roman Empire. It was one of the last holdouts against Christianization, with its people remaining faithful to the Olympian gods until the 10th century CE, over 600 years after the rest of Greece had converted. The process was finally completed by the Byzantine monk Nikon Metanite. The region faced Gothic and Slavic incursions, hardening the Maniots into a militaristic people. The fracture of the empire in 1204 CE saw Constantinople fall to the Fourth Crusade. Mani was annexed by Geoffroy de Villehardouin into the Latin Principality of Achaia. This period introduced Latin-style castles and fused Byzantine and feudal social structures, forming the class system that would define later Maniot society. After a period of Latin rule, the Maniots came under the control of the Byzantine Despotate of Mistras, which survived until 1460 CE, 7 years after the fall of Constantinople. When Sultan Mehmed II invaded the Peloponnese, he avoided a direct assault on Mani. The Maniots, led by chieftain Crocodilos Cladus, rejected Ottoman suzerainty and allied with the Venetians. The Ottomans did not subdue the region until 1479, and even then, Maniot resistance continued relentlessly. Ottoman control was always tenuous. Between 1500 and 1570, the Ottomans were busy expelling Venice from the region, leaving Mani practically independent. After repeated skirmishes and appeals to the papacy for Spanish aid, the Maniots accepted partial suzerainty by 1572. But a Maniot is not easily made a servant. Revolts erupted again in 1619 under the Italian noble Charles I Gonzaga, Duke of Nevers. though the 30 Years' War in Europe forced his withdrawal. Another revolt in 1649 also failed. During the Sixth Venetian-Ottoman War, 1684 to 1699, Maniot pirate warlords joined Venetian raids on Ottoman Crete. One, Laverius Gerakakis, even held the Ottoman title of Manabe, ruler of Mani. Ottoman retaliation was fierce, causing devastation and driving many Maniots to emigrate to places like Corsica. In 1676, the Stephanopoulos family established a Maniot colony in Corsica. Remarkably, these exiles maintained their Greek Orthodox faith and piratical ways, preserving a distinct cultural identity into the 19th century. Back in Mani, the Ottomans retook control in 1719, but revolt was a constant. The Orlov Revolt of 1770, instigated by Russia's Catherine the Great to create a Byzantine vassal state, saw Maniot warlord Ioannis Mavromichalis join forces with Alexei Orlov. The Ottomans responded with a decade-long invasion. Though the revolt failed and many notables were executed, the Maniots managed to secure a deal. A local autonomous bey would send tribute to the Porte in exchange for self-governance. This autonomy made Mani a perfect haven for the Philiki Etaireia, the secret society that planned the Greek Revolution of 1821. When war broke out, the Maniots were among the first to raise the flag of rebellion. They fought valiantly at Tripolitsa, Valtetsi, and Dervanakia. Most famously, during the revolution's lowest point, they repelled the formidable Egyptian general Ibrahim Pasha from parts of Mani in 1826, including at the Battle of Poliaravo. Greek independence did not quell the Maniots' autonomous spirit. They fiercely opposed the centralizing policies of Greece's first president, Ioannis Kapodistrias. The dispute led to the imprisonment of Maniot war hero Petrobes Mavromichalis. True to their tradition, Kapodistrias was assassinated by Mavromichalis' relatives in an act of vendetta. The Maniots also refused to acknowledge the authority of Otto, the Bavarian prince imposed as king of Greece. Bavarian troops attacked Mani from 1831 to 1834 with little success. At the Battle of Areopolis, Maniots staged a night attack that massacred the soldiers. Eventually, a diplomat named Max Fetter negotiated a peace that incorporated Maniots into the kingdom's military and civil offices. Pro-Otto Maniots then subdued an anti-Otto insurgency, and Otto himself toured the region to cement his control. Vendettas persisted throughout the 19th century. Noble Maniot families like the Mavromichalis became prominent political and military figures in the new state, participating in the 1843 revolt against Otto, and later fighting for the liberation of Crete and Macedonia. During the WWI-era national schism, most Maniots sided with the royalists of King Constantinos against the liberal Eleftherios Venizelos. In World War II, they fought the Nazis in Epirus alongside the British, though some collaborated with the German-backed security units. Maniots were also divided during the Greek Civil War. The 20th century saw significant depopulation as people emigrated abroad or moved to cities like Athens. Today, Mani is a quiet region whose economy relies on tourism, its cultural heritage preserved in its forts, churches, and villages. Margarita stood on the battlefield, having helped repel the Ottomans from Diros. She looked at her rugged homeland and smiled. Her story is that of the militant Maniots who fought for autonomy against countless foes. Their history is one of contradictions: rugged individualism and feudal oppression, slave raiding and freedom fighting. They were pirates and rebels, a duality common in Mediterranean history. What makes the Maniots unique is how fiercely they maintained a distinct identity and independence even from other Greeks. They are like the mountains of Mani itself, tough to break, powerful, and proud.